5 new political parties have been registered by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. And that makes the number of registered political parties in Nigeria 45. INEC says it approved the applications of the 5 associations after they had met constitutional requirements for registration. The new political parties are Young Progressives Party, YPP, Advanced People's Democratic Alliance, APDA, New Generation Party of Nigeria, NGP, All Democratic People's Movement, ADPM, and Action Democratic Party, the ADP. According to INEC, 95 associations applied for registration as political parties. 5 of them were approved, while 2 withdrew their applications voluntarily. For more on the registered political parties, now I'm joined on the phone by the INEC Director of Voter Education and Publicity, Oluwole Osaze Uzi. Well, thank you for joining us on News Track. Now that INEC has registered 5 new political parties, we'd like to know the criteria used in pruning down the number from 95 to 5.
Thank you. It's a bit misleading to say that INEC has pruned down that number. There are so many parties or associations at various stages in the process. So this does not foreclose the registration of more parties that meet the requirements. But for now, these 5 have met the requirements for registration. And the requirements are spelled out in the Constitution. They're quite liberal, actually. And since these 5 have scaled that hurdle, it doesn't mean that more will not come. We did not prune down the number.
So do we expect more political parties to be registered ahead of the 2019 general election?
Yes, as you quite rightly said, 2 have withdrawn their applications, but more can even still come. And if any of those do meet the requirements, they will be registered. We are obligated to register any political association that meets the requirements 6 months to the election.
So what happens to parties that are perceived to be non-performing?
There's no criteria for judging parties that are non-performing. The Electoral Act, the provision of the Electoral Act are still controversial about that, about whether the party is obliged to field candidates or obliged to win a certain number of seats. But so there's no yardstick for judging what you mean, what you say when you say they are non-performing.
So on what grounds does or can INEC deregister a political party?
Well, there are certain provisions in the Electoral Act, but those provisions have been challenged and some of them are still subject to challenge. The Electoral Act has said that if you don't meet certain criteria, certain thresholds, including winning any seat in a general election, either in the State House of Assembly or governorship or senatorial National Assembly seat. But that provision is under judicial interpretation now. Where a party does not meet constitutional requirements, where you have registered a party, but it falls short of constitutional requirements. For example, if it no longer maintains an office in the FCC in Abuja, or if its membership of its ruling body, the INEC, does not involve members from 24 states, at least 24 states, then it no longer meets that criteria for registration. If it was not to be registered, it would not have met the criteria. The Electoral Act seems to say that then those parties can be registered.
So where is INEC in terms of preparations for the 2019 elections?
Well, of course, we've set a date, we've set a timeline, and we are at the moment, we're in election mode, we're entering election mode. The CVR, Continuous Voter Registration, has commenced, ongoing. That's what the Commission wants to review in Kaduna. And these are all basic building blocks for a good election, for a credible election. So those things have started. Registration of parties, continuous voter registration, and we're going to test lots of our plans in the 18th November governorship election in Anambra, and hopefully the elections coming up next year, those are the governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun, will perfect the plans. We're also at the forefront of electoral reform. The Senate has passed its own version of the electoral reform bill. The House of Representatives is on it as well. When that comes into law, we'll look at it and then align our plans and processes and procedures and planning in accordance with the legal framework.
Speaking about the CVR, I think the Senate deliberated on this matter and they suggested that INEC decentralize the process of registering persons who are of voting age, moving them away from the local government to the ward level. What's happening?
Yes, I think Channel was among those stations that did carry out the chairman's opening remarks at the workshop for the review of the process. And it requires a lot of logistical planning, a lot of financial planning, and the resources have to be there. So it's not sufficient for the National Assembly or the Senate to do this. It must go ahead and appropriate money for that purpose. If we are to go to the polling unit, for example, we'll need minimum 120,000 data capture machines. We just don't have that. It will cost over 130, 140 billion naira to proceed to commence that registration at that level. So it's one thing to say certain things, it's also to make those things happen. It gives the finances, the resources to make those things happen. We have to buy those things, we have to source them, we have to train, recruit over 600,000 people to do that. We have to train them on the use of this machine. We have to provide logistics like generators, consumables, lots of things go into it. But we did say that with the process, CBR process continually under review. In Anambra, we will go to Anambra in August to the ward levels, and the same thing will happen next year in Ekiti and Osun State. And possibly, when we review things and there's a creation for it, we will decentralize to lower levels in other areas and possibly nationwide.